I know everyone is hyped about the 30th anniversary, and at this point, you've seen a lot of videos that show you the cards and the UPC and all that stuff that's coming out and the pricing point. I'm not here to talk to you about that. I'm here to talk about like the things that people are not talking about when it comes to this set, the bad stuff, the bad potential investment that this could be. Have you ever thought about that? And so I've got 5 things that I've kind of thought about recently that I just think they're like things to kind of like think about before just going all in on this set. And then, so we'll start off with the biggest one that I think that no one's really talked about is like, what if there's no like real chase card? What if there's like no like real like rarity? And so far, based on like the 20th anniversary, it's pretty easy to get and complete this set, right? The best cards you got was like a Charizard base set with the little stamp promo on it, right? And so I don't really know anyone that's ever actually tried to master set that. I wasn't around that era either. But for the most part, what I get from that set is like, it was pretty easy to get, the stuff that you wanted from it. And with this, when this comes out, if there's no incentive for a high chase card, if there's like no Moonbreon or no like, I don't know, like none of these or like some top Pikachu card, if there's nothing there for people to like really chase for like rarity, what value does this have like short term? Like everyone's gonna get their product and just get filled up on it really quick, just like these short sets that we've been having, right? Perfect Order, like everyone's just master setting that pretty quick. It's cheap and easy. And then Chaos Rising, the same thing. So like, what if the 30th anniversary has the same problem, right? Maybe like, what if there's not that many cards? And what if like the rarity is very just generic? I think people should really think about it, because if it's easy to get the cards and there's nothing really to chase, I don't know if this is going to be a good short-term investment. Now, long-term, I think that's a different argument, right? But for short-term, the price points might not agree with what you're trying to do. Okay, the second thing I was thinking about is, and it goes along with like, what if all these kind of like follow through, and I think it makes like a bigger, all these are pieces to a puzzle to create a bigger problem. So like, what if they print the heck out of this, right? And so I've watched a lot of YouTube videos about this, and it seems, based on what I hear from other people, especially like, high end like YouTubers, they talk about how like this is supposed to be the most printed set ever, which makes sense, right? Where, they're printing like 10 million plus cards a year. Is that right? 10 million? Whatever it was. I'm pretty sure it's something like that. And then why not focus on the set that's, everyone's like really hyped on? Like if you're a corporate company and you should know your fan base, like this is what they're going to want to, this is going to be what they want, right? You can sell so many other products around this, right? So we're hyped about the cards, but there's so many other products that's going to be associated around this for good marketing, and they're going to make a ton of money off of it, right? The cards is just going to be a small portion, but there's so many other things that they're going to make money off of it too. So like, it makes sense to print the heck out of this, right? Get the cards to as many people as possible, so that way they get Pokemon in the brain and then they start buying other stuff. But if there's no real chase and there's a ton of product, I don't think this is going to be a good short-term investment. Like I'm kind of like going through this all in my head. I'm like, these are things that people are not thinking about. Everyone's too hyped and they're not thinking about like the future aspect of what's going to happen in these next, like, what are we, like less than 3 months? Okay. Anyway, so my third thing. Now this is a pretty big one. So everyone is already like front running this, right? Everyone has been waiting for this product since pretty much like last year. Since I've been in a hobby since the end of last year, I've heard nothing but 30th anniversary, 30th anniversary, 30th anniversary. Like everyone already knew this was going to happen. Everyone has seen what the 20th anniversary did with celebrations. And so, the investment psychology is pretty new to Pokemon, regardless if people would want to admit that or not. Like I could probably honestly say, based on the videos I've watched, like, 85% of the community is pretty new within the last like year or so, as far as when it comes to investing. Now there are some outliers, right? And you can pretty much tell the outliers, like Nostalgianomics, popular YouTubers that have been around like 4+ years on YouTube, and probably even before that. You can tell based on how people talk to you or, present themselves, like how long they've really been investing, right? Most people are not on a level. Most people have been within like the last year when it comes to investing. And so everyone's collecting data, looking at trends, and then 20th anniversary is definitely something that everyone has noticed, right? It has gone nothing but gone up, especially within the last year. So everyone's expecting the same thing from this, right? It seems like a guarantee based on historical data. The last time, 25th anniversary, if you look at historical data, it didn't do that well. It was really hyped and it kind of just flopped. And it's only doing well now because there's so much anticipation for the 30th anniversary. So if history repeats, you would expect the same thing from this to happen short term, and then maybe long term, this might be a play. But I know right now everyone's, their brain is clouded, right? They haven't been hit with any pain in the Pokemon market when it comes to investing yet. Everyone has gone, if you've purchased almost anything, it has probably gone up in value if you've waited long enough. And if you didn't wait long enough, you probably sold it and then later saw that it went up. Everything kind of goes up in Pokemon right now. And I think everyone's just expecting the same thing for this. And they're not like thinking outside of the box of like the possibility of what could go wrong, right? And I know just by saying that, I sound kind of negative. But I think if as an investor, you have to think about these things because you need to understand, you need to be cautious about certain things. Like everything in Pokemon goes up. But the rule of thumb in anything in this world is like anything that goes up must come down, right? And so I'm not trying to be a doom and gloom, but I do want people to maybe think about other things and other than just just continuous hype and speculation. I think you should speculate. If you want to make money in this world, you have to take action and you have to speculate. That's what you have to do. But there gets to a point when when you see nothing but up, you expect something to go down. And I don't want to be a doom and gloomer, but if this set doesn't have no chases and they print the heck out of this, I don't know what people are going to get from this from the short term. All right, point number 4. Too many people hold sealed product. Now, I know the thing right now is, rip and ship. Everyone's like, oh, everything gets ripped way more than was before, blah, blah, blah. But, honestly, I don't really buy that narrative that much. Like, I understand the data that backs it up, right? But like, if you really think about Pokemon in the past, 30 years that's been in, like, there's not that many sealed, like no one that actually really kept sealed product except for the past like 5-ish years. Like this is more of like a new like COVID trend. So before rip and ship happened, people just ripped their product and now the sealed product doesn't exist. And so like, I don't think that really matters right now. There's a lot of product out there, it gets ripped. But at the same time, more people were like hoarding their sealed product more than before, right? Like if you think of things on a percentage base of what was available as a sealed product, 10 years ago and what got ripped, you could probably say nearly all of it got ripped, right? And there was no rip and ship. Like it just got demolished. It didn't matter. So I don't know why that's like a good, I get the data that supports it because the people want to know, like, they want to see the destruction calculator of like how much sealed product is left. But in all honesty, I don't really think that matters that much because people already know just to hold their product. Okay. All right. Okay. And this is my biggest thing when it comes to the hoarding aspect too, because if everyone is doing it, then there means there's no edge. You don't have an edge to support your thesis on the investment, especially short term. Maybe in long term you do, but if your goal is long term, when this product comes out, it might not be the best time to invest in it because it's so overhyped. We're already seeing prices be like very like higher than usual, right? Ascended Heroes came out, and I'm going to use GameStop as a good example because GameStop is really great at like understanding the secondary market and abusing it, right? That's why people don't like them right now. They're not selling it MSRP. They see what the secondary market is doing, and then they change as the secondary market changes. So like Ascended Heroes came out. I remember you could buy ETBs for like $80. And at first people were like, didn't think that was a really good deal because it was like slightly over MSRP. I bought some. And then the very next week, I went to go get some more. I was like, man, that's actually a pretty good price because I saw what Prismatic did. I was like, if I get these at 80, that's kind of a steal. I know it's not MSRP, but it's kind of a steal. because I saw what Prismatic did. It's like, all right, well, Prismatic has gone up and it's no longer, you're no longer able to even buy it under $100. Like, this is a great steal. So like, I went to go buy more, and then they told me that's when they raised the prices. And it was like a week later, and this is before it got released too. It's like a week later, like it's $100 an ETB, and I was like, whoa. And I didn't buy anything because I thought that was like too steep. Now hindsight, it definitely wasn't, right? And so that makes me very cautious with 30th anniversary too, because now GameStop is they've raised their prices for this. It's a specialty set, and they're shooting at $130 per ETB. Now, in the grand scheme of things, my lizard brain understands that is still cheap. Like, I'm looking at it the same way that I looked at Ascended Heroes at $80. And the reason why I say $130 is still cheap is because Ascended Heroes, after a couple of months of it being out, went straight to $180. If you don't think that this set is going to fly to $180 plus, I think you're silly, right? And so people are going to get priced out really fast, because what we saw with Ascended Heroes is you had like 2 weeks to make the deal that you were going to make. You had like 2 weeks to get in the position that you wanted to get in before everything got to prices that it is right now. Like, you had limited time. And so I think if there is a slim chance of like short-term play, you really have to go hard in the beginning. And right now, the ability to make money is actually cut, right? You're not going to get product at $60. You're not going to get product for $80 anymore. Like, the floor is about $130. GameStop is pretty good at getting the freaking floor. And if not, they get really close to the point where like it goes under, and they will just wait because people just buy it anyway, because people will feel like it's still close to the store. So our price point for $130, I think if you can get any product under $150, it's probably going to be a good price point for 30th anniversary. But the margin that you're going to get from that is probably slim, right? So if it goes up to $180, $200, like, your margin is just way slimmer than it was before. Like, everyone already knows how good this set is, and they're trying to front run it. You would probably be better off looking at other products that people aren't looking at. That's why I look at other things right now. That's why I'm looking at Chaos Rising. I was sleeping on that set. I'm not gonna lie. I thought this set was like trash. It's like, it's Greninja. I know Greninja is good, and it's like, I know the set is mid, but like, when I really think about Pokemon when it comes to investing, if I just look at history, everything goes up. So why not try to invest in the things that have low risk? Like, an ETB for Chaos Rising is nearly MSRP right now. It's like a no-brainer. Like, it's safe. Like, I can just buy that, hold it, and eventually sell it in the future, because what are the chances they're going to reprint that? They're going to reprint the 30th anniversary. That's what they're going to reprint. They could print Chaos Rising, but it's probably less likely, right? Anyway, that's my thought for that. All right, my last thought is, so my fifth thought when it comes down to this is 30th fatigue. For the past year, everyone has been so hyped on this set. And this kind of wraps up all my points all together. So we've had this whole hype. And if all these points that I just talked about like hit right after another, and this set comes out, and it doesn't meet everyone's expectations, there's no rarity, there's too much of it. I don't think there can be really too much of it, but if there's no rarity, too much of it could be a problem. Too many people holding it, right? I think you can create this chaotic storm where people aren't expecting it, and the fatigue finally runs out, right? Because everyone's been too hyped on this set, thinking that, oh, this is a set that's going to save me. This is a set I'm going to put my money in, and I'm finally going to make money off of Pokemon. But the problem is the price point is so high. If there's nothing in this set that meets that demand, if it's not on Ascended Hero level, I think people are going to go crazy. I don't think people are realizing, like, if it's not on Ascended Hero level, as far as like what you can get from that set, and you can just get everything really fast, like the Mewtwo, the futuristic cards, the Pikachus. If it's too easy to get, and there's so much of it at one time, long term, there's not going to be a lot of it, right? But at one time, I think that's a recipe for disaster. Okay, to sum it all up, I don't think that the 30th anniversary is going to be a bad set no matter what. I think initially the hype will be there because it is new cards. Every set that comes out is a banger, right? Perfect Order was probably a dud, but Chaos Rising mid set came out hot. This set has been anticipated for so long that people are going to want to invest in it no matter what. So it will happen. The short-term gains that you get from it, I just think are lower than what you're used to seeing. We're capping out, and I think there's not enough people around to continue to play hot potato. Eventually, it will come to a stop. Okay, Rayquaza set's going to come out, and we're still going to be doing 30th anniversary. I think the UPC comes out at the same time that the Rayquaza set comes out in English. I think that overlap is going to see a lot too. But my main thing is, like, if your goal is to make a lot of money from this short term, your margins, you just have to realize your margins are probably going to need to be thinner than what you probably want it to be. Looking for a 2x, 3x, or 4x is probably very unlikely, and you're probably going to lose money because you're staying in product that's going to keep getting reprinted over and over again, because there's no way they're not going to, right? They're going to want to make money from this set to make money from other things associated with it, right? The Pokemon cards is the lure, right? They just sink, you bite the bait, and then they pull you out, put you on the ship around all this gold of Pokemon product, and then you buy all the other stuff. The goal is to get you to buy everything else in Pokemon too, not just these cards. And so they will print the heck out of it because they need to in order to make a lot of money to satisfy, corporate. It makes sense. But if your goal is short term, you really need to think about how you're going to get in and get out, and realize that the gains from other sets are not going to be the same for this one because people are already front running it. They already know what to expect. But long term, I think this is going to be a great set. But there's probably other things you probably could invest in to make more money. And I think Chaos Rising and Pitch Black would probably give you better returns in the short term compared to something like 30th anniversary. That's my opinion. Thank you for your time. I appreciate everything. If you watched to the very end, maybe consider subscribing. Thank you so much, and go touch grass.